Welcome to today's information session on ICAN's Career and College Readiness Curriculum for grades 9 through 12. I'm going to wait just a few seconds to let the rest of our registrants join the webinar, so we will get started in just a few minutes. As I'm getting ready to get started and waiting for our last attendee to join, in the chat, I am sharing a link to our lesson summary pages that gives you an overview of all of the lessons that are included in our curriculum, the goals, the activities, things like that. So provides a good summary overview of everything that's included in our program in terms of the core content. So my name is Britannia Mori, and I am part of ICAN's curriculum team, and I will be walking through our national program with you today. If you have any questions while I'm talking about our program or any of the features, please feel free to drop those questions into the chat, and I will be sure to answer those as we're going through. So thank you for joining me, and I'm glad that there's some interest today in our program as we're winding down this school year. To give you some background on ICAN, our organization is an education nonprofit. We are headquartered in the state of Iowa, but we offer national programming and professional development in the area of college and career readiness. Our mission is to empower students to find success in career, college, and life. And we do that through partnerships with high schools, after-school programs, community organizations, youth organizations that work directly in this work. We provide programs, resources, curriculum, professional development to ensure that students can find the right resources and have a plan and make informed decisions about their future. Here in the state of Iowa, we offer advising services to students and parents in addition to our school and community-based programs and resources. And you can see that our advising, we cover the full breadth of the career and college planning process. We start with families as early as 8th grade to offer that one-on-one tailored planning for what their student is going to do after they graduate from high school. In talking about today's program focus, our curriculum, we have created a program that is age and grade specific lessons that are designed to guide students through each step of the planning process as they go through high school and begin planning for what comes after graduation. Each of our lessons builds upon each other. It is a system that takes skills and resources from each lesson and builds upon that. It creates a foundation for critical decision making for every student, regardless of what path they end up taking after they graduate. Our lessons provide guidance, activities, and resources for students. Our lessons in this curriculum program really create a comprehensive plan for students. You can talk in general topics and enrich a student's experience in general research and understanding of a process. And then it also takes further steps to create a personalized approach for students. So in a group setting, students are gaining a personalized plan through these activities and lessons. We've built our curriculum upon national standards for career and college readiness, as well as the ASCA model mindsets and behaviors set forth by the American School Counselors Association. And I will talk about that more here in a moment. So our national standards, we have focused in on the 4 essential contact areas that show that a student is considered college and career ready when they graduate, so that they have achieved proficiency in essential content knowledge in the areas of career and college readiness, that they have acquired their practical transition skills, that they have developed key learning skills and cognitive strategies to move forward, and that they've built a strong foundation of self-understanding and engagement. We've taken that further to align with the professional standards for school counselors set forth by the American School Counselor Association. We have aligned our curriculum lessons with the mindsets and behaviors for student success, looking at all of those mindset and behavior standards for K-12 college and career readiness. As we've aligned those, we have done that lesson by lesson, and we have the curriculum standards aligned with ICAP components as well as the ASCA model, so that you can easily reference your professional standards with student set parameters and see how each lesson is helping you meet your program and professional standard goals. When we talk about implementing this curriculum program, what we're talking about is integrating career and college readiness concepts into the classroom, making it more of a daily occurrence in your building rather than once or twice a year we have a presentation or we come in and we talk. We really want success to show that this isn't something you plan a couple of times a year. This is something that is part of your learning experience in high school. We have developed this curriculum to have a flexible design so that it can be adapted to your size of building, your program implementation needs, your goals as a district and as a building. So you can adapt the lessons and pick and choose how you integrate, or you can integrate the entire program, and there are a variety of ways to do that as well. We also provide full support. The ICAN curriculum team is here with our knowledge and experience, resources and materials. We're here to brainstorm with you and provide support in your implementation process, as well as throughout the year to talk over how you talk about different lessons, how you may incorporate it at different grade levels, anything that you need for support that comes with the implementation process of our curriculum. We understand that many schools have selected a career information system as part of your college and career programming. Our curriculum is designed to work with a career information system if you have one designated. It is also a standalone program that can fulfill all of your career and college curriculum needs. But if you do use a career information system, the way that our program is designed is to provide the ability to expand on the topics that your information system may provide, to provide a deeper understanding and exploration opportunities for students. We also have the opportunity to convert our program into a virtual component of your career information system. That would be a separate implementation process and a separate addendum to your license agreement, but we do have that capability if that's something that you were interested in talking about. But to understand what that might look like first, all of our lessons are focused on the essential components of an individual career and academic plan, or an ICAP. And those components include self-understanding, career information, career exploration, post-secondary exploration, and then career and post-secondary decision-making. So when you look at the components of an ICAP plan, our program takes those components and goes deeper with students and really hones in on not just the overall components of understanding those 5 things, but taking it deeper and making it personalized for students. So some examples of how integration into career information system works. Our program, again, it's that more in-depth progress with activities and reflection. So for components 1 through 3, a career information system is going to provide that career assessment or interest inventory. Utilizing that in conjunction with the ICAN program will have students go deeper and connect with their assessment results. We have a career assessment lesson that asks specific questions and has a worksheet where students really dive into those assessment results and creates a plan from that. A career information system will typically have a student save 3 careers. Our program helps students relate those careers to interests and then connect to potential coursework while still in high school, to extracurricular activities, to post-secondary training. And we explore clusters rather than individual careers. So we really focus on the 6 career clusters with the 16 career pathways beneath them. And through that, through a career information system, students may be limited to looking at individual careers or a single career. And through ICAN, we really eliminate that, and we want them to use time to explore clusters, learn about pathways of interest, how to relate that and integrate that into their 4-year plan so they have more options and they understand that a single career is part of an overall cluster or pathway that they may find more interest areas in to explore. We have our curriculum divided into 4 topic areas: academic preparation, career exploration, financial literacy, and post-secondary selection. Under academic preparation, we have 6 lesson topic areas. So you can see we go from academic preparation, digital citizenship, study skills, communication, social media. In this academic area, our core concepts are focusing on how academics relate to post-high school opportunities, really helping students understand the purpose beyond the grade. What am I doing today and how does that prepare me for the future? The impact of that academic planning on future options. We talk about GPA, we talk about admission standards, we talk about preparing for standardized tests, we talk about building skills through those academic coursework. We talk about the importance of extracurricular and non-academic activities on those post-high school options, the skills that you gain outside of the classroom and how that is an important part of creating that whole student projection for admissions, scholarships, employment applications. We talk about the awareness that students should have of their social profile and the impact that can have on future opportunities, how to use proper communications in different situations, whether you're applying for a scholarship, applying for a job, speaking with your boss, applying for admission, and how you're interacting with the outside world via text, email, social media, things like that, how all of that integrated can impact the perception that the outside world has on a student. And then we also talk about digital citizenship, including identity theft protection and online safety. Under our career exploration segment of lessons, again, we have 6 lessons in this segment that help students explore all of the different post-secondary options for careers. So our core concepts in the career section, again, pathways versus a singular career goal. We really want students to understand areas of interest first and really explore rather than pinning down one career too early and then finding that's not right for them and feeling stuck that they didn't explore other things. So pathways versus careers first. The integration of course planning, taking their assessment results and learning more about their interests and their passions and potential careers through their 4-year plan and the courses they take in high school. Teaching them about that 4-year plan beyond meeting high school graduation requirements, incorporating college planning requirements or expectations, looking at different courses that could explore a career interest. We talk about finding the right fit when it comes to a career, social fit, academic fit, their values and their interests, really helping them look at all of the aspects of selecting a career. We explore all of the pathways in our career lessons. We want students to really have an understanding of what all of their post-high school options are. Diplomas, certificates, 2-year, 4-year, graduate school programs, career training, career and technical education, apprenticeship programs. We really want them to understand what all of their options are and have a full understanding of what those options can lead to in terms of career potential. In our financial literacy segment, we have 7 lessons that cover the full breadth of financial literacy. So these core concepts, we talk basic budgeting, understanding wants and needs, setting a personal budget, how that relates to future budget expectations and how you can plan for the life that you want down the road. We talk about the 1040 income tax process and how it relates to financial aid. We talk about the relationship between career planning and college financing and student debt. We want students to understand how college financing works, how to understand a financial aid package from a college, how to understand what borrowing responsibly would be if they need to borrow, understanding those packages, how credit factors into life decisions, the student loan process, and then just the borrowing process in general, what it means to take out a loan, what different terminology means. Our final section of lessons is post-secondary selection. We really want students to understand, again, making those connections between their career interests and their career assessments and what they've prepared for, what they can afford through their financial literacy lessons, how they've prepared through academics. When it comes time to make that selection, we're still focusing on all of their options. So we're comparing education and training options. We're looking at the return on investment for education and training. We're looking at the scholarship process, not only how to search for and apply for scholarships, but how to write an essay. We're looking at how to understand and compare programs of study. We tell students to compare colleges all the time, but we may not fully give them the tools to do that, for them to know what they should be comparing. So this lesson teaches them that. How to apply to college for a job, for an apprenticeship, for the military. We really cover that's, how do we take that next step? What are the steps and the processes? And then also college course planning. that is teaching students how to build a college plan. Now, some, if they're going into career technical education or an apprenticeship, that plan is pretty set for them. But for many students, they're going to be in charge of, making sure that they meet their college graduation requirements, their general ed plus, excuse me, major and minor courses. So we really talk about how do you build that plan. Excuse me, I have an allergy, spring allergies today. And then College 101 is a barrier breaking lesson that talks about understanding the support structures at a college. What is a registrar? What are the different types of degrees? What's the campus career center, tutoring, financial aid, admissions? What are all of the working parts of student support so that students who are unfamiliar with that can become familiar with those terms and those points of view when we're having these planning conversations? It'll get them a little more comfortable. If I understand the terminology, I'm more likely to understand that I can do it. So we're talking about in this area, exploring college exploration in terms of academic, career, and financial fit. So again, we're going back to that fit, find a fit with career exploration. We're finding a fit with that post-secondary exploration as well. Understanding all of the options in terms of career potential, writing scholarships, doing that search process, again, the admissions application process, and then understanding the support systems, how to compare college programs of study, understanding what general education versus major and minor coursework means. For our national curriculum program, we do tailor this. So I want to make that very clear that all of this curriculum is tailored to your state and given, it's filled with whenever we provide an example or a reference to a resource. If that exists in your state, we make it local for your students. So everything that your curriculum is focusing on, it's not always just the general process, but it is tailored to meet the needs and specific resource availability for your students in your school. So we start off with a basic questionnaire that we give to you when you identify that you want to license our program. And from there, we do our own research and we tailor where the curriculum needs tailored to reflect your state. And once you receive that curriculum and you look at the tailoring, if there's additional things that we need to add in, that's part of our support. Before I get into licensing, I do want to share some pieces and samples of our lessons. So what I shared in the chat is our lesson summaries. So this comes right from our training manual. So there is a summary page for every single lesson that will tell you what the lesson goal is, what grades it's identified for, if we recommend prerequisite lessons, what is the student learning from this lesson, what is the activity, what is their takeaway if you need materials and things like that. But that is included in those summary pages. You can see and read about every aspect of, that lesson goal for each of our lessons. So I did share that in the webinar chat. So you can review that and you can access that link. So this opens up the conversation for all of our lessons. So the first one I want to share with you is in career exploration. I want to talk about our career assessment lesson. So we recommend that you do this every year, and I'm going to show you our scope and sequence recommendation in our implementation guide in a moment. But our career assessment lesson, every lesson comes with an outline. So in addition to the summary sheet, you get a lesson outline for you as an educator on how you break down the lesson, what the different sections should be. And so you can see that it's broken down. Part one, part two. Part one is taking the assessment. Part two is digging into those assessment results with your students. And then how you use the exploration worksheet, what the class discussion should be. We do break down our lessons. They're designed, if you do the whole lesson at once, you can do it in a 45 to 60-minute period. But we also work with schools that want to spread out and maybe do a semester course, or they want to do it in homeroom, or they want to do it over a week and really break down and go more in depth with those topics. So we also have a version of the lesson that's broken down into 15-minute segments. And really what that means is you could do each segment in 15 minutes, or this is how the lesson can be broken down into smaller segments that can be expanded on in a classroom session. So you could do segment 1 in 15 minutes, or you could do segment 1 as its own class period and really have students dig deeper into what you're doing. So all of the lessons are set up this way, where they're divided into segments as well as a full class. So you can see the flexibility, how we've adapted that. The part 2 that I mentioned, where you're digging into the career assessment lessons, that is where our worksheet comes in. Now, all of our worksheets are fillable PDFs, so you can assign them electronically. You don't have to print things out if you don't want to. The first page explains the purpose of a career assessment, identifies those career clusters, talks about how you can use the results. It's the back side where we get into the activity and where we want the students to dig into their assessment results. So we have them go through their results and look for specific information. What career areas did the assessment pull out for you? What are the potential majors that come from those areas? And what are some starting salary ranges for the careers that you've identified? What's the specific occupation, the specific credential that would be good for that? And then what is the any essential soft skills that it says, in addition to the credential, people successful in this field also possess the ability to work independently, or to work as a team, or to have leadership, or communication skills. What are those other skills that students should also consider building and having or highlighting in their resume when they're looking into these career fields? And then we have a take-home assignment where they go home and they interview a trusted employed adult to learn how people in their life have gotten to the position they're in. What do they like? What don't they like? How did they do that? What requirements are there? What skills do you need? So that is the career assessment lesson. One example I wanted to give you. The next lesson I want to share is our the job shadow internships. It's our employability lesson. And so here's the outline where you can see if it's a 45-minute class period or 55-minute class period, what you're talking about with each slide and the different sections of the lesson and how you're talking about that, and then your summary. And then of course we have the segmented lesson version, which is down here. I can show you the employability PowerPoint. You can view that with a slide sorter here. So you can kind of see, we go through, we open it with that career assessment. We use my ACT as our career assessment, but again, we work with any assessment tool or career information system that you may already have. We go through job shadows and internships, how you get hands-on experience, why it's important to be active and involved. That would be segment 1 of the lesson. And then we come back and we talk about, the Career Center and how that's helpful, and how you create a resume and what you would do to write the cover letter or thank you note, practicing your interview skills. Then we start talking about essential skills. And this is where one of our handouts comes in, where we look at how we develop soft skills. We've listed the top 10 soft skills sought after by employees based on a LinkedIn survey, and we just kind of define those. And this is a great classroom discussion. Students can look at their assessment results if they've done their career assessment, and they can pick out which ones, their career assessment results told them they should focus on or have. You can talk about how you build these skills. Some of them you can practice or identify ways to build, and that can be a partner or group discussion. But we can facilitate that through our handout. And then if we go back, we talk about that these are skills outside of your education and training. We talk about why they're important, why employers look for them. Then we move into segment 3, which is your job interview segment, where we're talking to students about what a job interview looks like, why it's important, why we have them, what goes into getting hired, that it's more than just what's on your resume. We talk about different ways that you can do interviews. We do touch on the technology that is growing now, coming out of the pandemic, doing virtual interviews. And then we get into questions, like what are some easy job interview questions? What are some tricky questions? How would you tackle some of those? We can even have them, and then practicing. What are the non-verbal interview skills that they need to have? What appearance, handshake, posture, maintaining eye contact? What does it look like if you bring in a resume or a portfolio? Cutting out the filler words. Think I would like, be like, cutting out those filler words, helping students practice that, and then practicing their interview skills. So we get back to that employability handout, and page 1 is all about practice makes perfect. Interview tips. You can have a classroom discussion on this, pair students up and have them practice interviewing each other, practice handshakes, practice just talking and maintaining eye contact. And then there are common interview questions that we have on the handout. Talking with students about how do you answer these questions? What makes a good answer? What should you leave out? Another handout that comes with this lesson is our Discover Your Interests flyer. And this is more of a take home or, an on your own during class, but this is building those self-reflection and self-understanding skills. This is separate from their career assessment. Their career assessment is a computerized, assessment. It's going to evaluate their answers. It's going to churn out some data on themselves. But what do they think about themselves? Have them self-reflect. What am I good at? What do I like to do? What's important to me? Can you be a team? Are you a good public speaker? How do you research? Skill sets. These are questions to have them ask themselves, to reflect on in this worksheet. They can do it as homework. It could be, in class, I want you to spend some time thinking about this. And then when they do take their assessment, compare. Is their self-reflection aligning with what the career assessment says? What's similar, what's different? How do you reconcile those things? So it's building those self-understanding skills. The last lesson I want to share is our Student Debt Reality lesson. This comes from our financial literacy segment, and it really focuses on helping students understand the connection between college costs and debt and financial aid packages and what they're offered. There's a lot of activity in this. This is a really easy one that can be broken up and spread over the course of several class periods. So we talk about our Student Debt Reality lesson. We talk about, defining financial aid. We talk about looking at their assessment results and bringing that into the financial conversation. And that is actually part of the first activity. Is we have this borrowing limits worksheet. So the top is from that career assessment worksheet. What were the career areas, the potential majors, your starting salary range? The starting salary range is where we do the calculation that gets them their borrowing limit. And so this worksheet has them pick 4 career areas from their career area assessments and calculate the different borrowing limits they would have if that was the career they were going to pursue. And basically your starting salary for your first year in a career is your borrowing limit. That's how much you can responsibly borrow for that career so that you can afford to pay it back with that salary. And so what we're looking at here is what's the career, what's the starting salary, and then you need to calculate out the monthly payment if you borrow that much, and then you divide it by the number of years it's going to take to complete the degree or credential they're going into, and that's their annual borrowing limit. And this is where we're teaching students that we do financial aid 1 year at a time. So you need to calculate your total college budget, but you're only going to do financial aid a year at a time. So you need to know 1 year at a time. If I borrow this amount, I'm probably going to borrow that how many years? So if I go into a career that my starting salary is $40,000 a year, divided by a 4-year degree, I can borrow up to $10,000 a year. So if in my first year, I'm getting a financial aid package that shows me that I need to borrow $15,000 for just year 1, well, I'm $5,000 over my responsible borrowing limit for year 1, But if I'm borrowing $15,000 a year for 4 years, now I'm $20,000 over my borrowing limit total. And what does that mean? I need to reconsider my options. I need to look at other ways of paying for things. So they can do that for 4 different careers, and it gives them some numbers. So when they start looking at award letters, they can do some calculations. And now in this lesson, this is just the first activity that we calculate their borrowing limits based on their career assessment results. But then we go through financial aid offers. Like, what does it cost to go to college for a year? What is the different kinds of financial aid? What is cost of attendance made of? What does that look like? How are you going to pay? And we break down in this lesson, there's a whole activity that teaches them how to break down a financial aid package. We're looking at direct costs. We take away the free money. Our remaining cost is our gap. That's what we have to cover with our financial aid. Do we have personal savings, or are parents contributing? What are we taking away from that? And then what is our gap that we may need to borrow? And does that fit into our borrowing range that's approved for the careers that we're interested in? So you can see how we're starting to connect their career exploration to their post-secondary options, and then to the financing of that and what they can afford. So that's a whole activity as well, where we give them sample award letters in the lesson. There's an online tool that we use that helps them calculate their different options and produces different scenarios for them. And you're going to talk about in this lesson the realities of financial aid and how they can understand how to cover their shortfall, what their decisions are. We give some examples of different borrowing options and what that looks like at 1 year and 4 years, and what it means to borrow wisely. So student debt reality, I showed you the first worksheet, the borrowing. We also have a comparing college costs worksheet that comes with this lesson, where they can look at colleges they're interested in and look what the expenses are going to be, and what they've got, so they can look at, okay, this college says this and I have this, so that means my unmet expenses will be this. It's another worksheet that they can use as they're planning on that personal side. So those are some lesson examples. And before I get back to our PowerPoint, I want to share our implementation guide, so you can see how we help you with that implementation process. So you can see it's a 41-page PDF. We really cover all of the different aspects of our program and help you really lay out how you're going to do this. So you can see some of the areas that are covered in this guide. I'm not going to go through all of it with you today, but we talk about how you're defining career and college readiness, how it aligns with ASCA, how it aligns with ICAP standards and components, what the different elements of our curriculum are. We go through a whole section for each lesson, how it's formatted, how it's designed, what the core concepts are, how you should implement it from your role. I want to share with you our scope and sequence. I mentioned that earlier. You can implement this any way you want, but for those looking for a specific guide on this is when you should do each of the lessons, we have created a scope and sequence by grade level. So first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, these are the lessons. And then we've also included supplemental activities that you can provide that will enhance what you're doing in the classroom, when they should meet with the counselor, when you should engage students and parents in further discussions or seminars. So you can see, we have time to review and revise those 4-year plans prior to when they actually schedule. That's when they should be talking about their career assessment results. That's when they should be talking about what classes they want to take, meeting with the counselor to discuss what their plans are. 10th grade, again, meet with your counselor each quarter. Retake that career assessment second semester. We're talking about that College 101. We're starting to explore those careers, defining what career and technical education is. What do those careers look like? Revise that. Every third quarter, you're going to see this, revise your 4-year plan ahead of scheduling for next year. Here we start talking about supplemental activities like job shadows, a career and college planning presentation for parents so they know what their role is. Junior year, we talk about effective communications. We start getting into more of the financial literacy, talking about income taxes, financial aid, more career exploration, starting to compare their options as they're getting into junior year. They're going to start doing campus visits. You'll see, we see college fairs, campus visits, job shadows, internships, getting into the financial aid process with junior parents. And then senior year, doing that career assessment once more at the beginning of the year so that they have that final, this is where I'm at, getting into how they can compare those programs of study, doing their final campus visits. Maybe you participate as a school in the college application campaign. Second quarter, we start talking about FAFSA completion, scholarships, learning about credit and the basics of borrowing, preparing them for the decisions they have to make second semester. We get into that student debt reality lesson that I just went over with you, how to plan out those degrees. Again, FAFSA completion could be a supplemental activity that you do. And then fourth quarter, as they're finishing up their senior year, you're supporting them with decision day celebrations. If they have to borrow, helping them understand the student loans, there's that lesson. Their final job shadow or internship might happen at this point in time. So we have that scope and sequence built out for you, and we're happy to help you, build that in whichever way. Showed you in our lesson outlines that lesson customization. So in our implementation guide, we do break down how each lesson is broken down. So the different segments of each lesson, and then that's reflected in those course outlines that you would get when you dig into the lesson outlines and lesson plans. The last section of the guide I want to share with you is towards the end. We have an index at the end of all of the curriculum resources where we get all the statistics, all of our source materials. I know that has become a very hot topic in education. What curriculum is being used in the classrooms, where you're getting your source material, what videos are you showing students. We have pulled all that together. So if you ever had to report any of that out or share that, someone questioned where you're getting your information. If we didn't internally write it ourselves, we're showing you where our resources are, what partnerships we use, what, we use Bureau of Labor Statistics for our career information. So it's all on here where we're getting the videos that we share with you. We've shared that in our implementation guide. I'm going to switch back to our licensing here. So if you choose to license our program, what that comes with is you get a physical curriculum manual. It has a physical copy of our lesson plans, worksheets, instructions, outlines, everything is included there. You get the implementation guide, that resource guide. It includes additional events and activities, those supplemental pieces, parent communication topics, and then that glossary of career and college readiness terms. The big thing here is the online portal. That is where you're going to access all of the worksheets, all of the PowerPoints, handouts, the lesson plans. You get a username and password. You can have as many username and passwords as you have staff members that need to access the license. And you would go through the portal to access. And that's where when we push updates on the curriculum, it all gets pushed through the portal. And then we send you a notification, hey, refresh your web browser because the portal's been updated and it has new content, and we'll tell you where that content is. And it also includes ongoing support and assistance from our curriculum team, along with the kickoff implementation training, which is a virtual training. It lasts about 2 hours, and we go through all of the core concepts and things like that. So we go through the concepts in our training. We don't train you on individual lessons. We talk about the concepts that are covered in all of the lessons. We go over all of the integration of those concepts, how to bring parents into your conversation, how to create and build that culture and bridge your counseling programs. And we go over all of the technology. So we go over the training videos, we go over the online portal, we talk about, encompassing your counselor website as support for your career and college readiness work. Our training options. The train the trainer is what's included in your license. That includes 1 seat at one of our standard trainings. It's designed that you have a representative go through the training, and then if there's other people that need to be brought on board, they're the lead in your building. You can purchase additional seats in that train the trainer. If you want a building-wide training, we do offer that. We do standalone trainings when the entire building wants to be trained. We've done that. several times actually, where we train the entire staff on how to integrate career and college readiness into the culture of the building. So there's a standalone fee for that gets added to the licensing fee, but there's no limit to how many people can participate. We have two options for our national program. We have our premium license and our standard license. I will go through both of those. There is a price difference there based on the add-ons for the premium. So our standard license, the first year it's $2,000. It renews at $1,000 in subsequent years. And the standard license is the entire curriculum program that we've talked about today. The training, how to integrate everything, access to the portal, and then all of the lessons, everything we've discussed. That's our standard license. And then you get that full ongoing support. The premium license includes all of that curriculum, everything that we've just talked about, the hard manual, the portal, the training. But then it also includes some of those supplemental activities you saw referenced in the scope and sequence. You can do those, of course, on your own. But if you want to do the premium license, then our student success advisor team can provide virtual seminars that you can offer to your parents and students. So those could be classroom presentations. Those could be evening presentations where parents are invited. And it provides that at-home engagement that connects parents to what's happening in the classroom. It talks about their role in the planning process at home. And we can do those for life after high school, so career and college planning. We can do that for financial aid. And then it also includes access to student planning pointers for parents. It's a parent communication resource that can empower you with parent-targeted communications. You would sign up and get that monthly, and they're by grade level. So there are additional add-ons. You can purchase those additional virtual training seats. You can purchase additional manuals. You can do the school-specific training. All of that is an option. When we talk about funding options, there are several options right now in terms of funding the curriculum license. There's your traditional curriculum funding, which would just come out of your general fund budget. Career and college programming for readiness is an approved ESSER fund expense. So if you have ESSER funds remaining, you have to spend those by, I believe, September of 2023. You can use ESSER funds for the purchase of this curriculum license. It also is a Perkins 5 approved fund because of the career aspect. You can use professional development funds because of the training aspect. We can bill this as professional development, and then it comes with the curriculum manual. We have had districts also use a district foundation or a community grant. So if you have questions about those funding options, I'd be happy to talk to you about any of that. This is just our national map of where we're currently located. We are serving schools, every state that's purple. We have districts that are utilizing our curriculum program. The states that are in green, we have pending. So we are working with schools to start implementing. And then here in the state of Iowa, every county in orange has a district that's using our curriculum. We started this about 7 years ago, and the growth, we designed this curriculum with school counselors, and we were in the classrooms talking with students about how they wanted to be engaged in this process, what they wanted to know. We talked with parent groups about how what they want their students to know at school. So this has really been from the ground up, built in the schools with the schools based on research. Our final scheduled training is May 19th, which I know is next week, but we will have probably an early June training date that gets added. And then we can also schedule those own training dates. You can also, we do fall kickoff trainings right before the start of the school year in August and September. So we do have flexible training. The only one we currently have scheduled and firm is May 19th, but we will be adding those. So next steps. Your next steps are just really to reach out and connect with me, or you can fill out our information form online, which I can show you what that looks like. Our information form is really simple. It just tells me who you are and where you're at in the process and what you want to know. I've also included the link for that in the webinar chat. So you can tell us where you're at, and then, if you're ready, if you want to set up a one-on-one and talk about your district's goals and options and how we might fit, that would be great. If you're ready to move forward, you can say that as well. And I see someone has a question, so I will over here. Ashley, go ahead. You can ask your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I can't see anything in the chat. It continually says chat disabled, and I don't know if I'm the only one. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
Try this again. How about now?
I can see it now. Thank you.
All right, well, that means I'm going to reshare the summary page that I shared at the beginning as well. So there are both links that I've shared so far. I've just put back in the chat. I apologize for that. It didn't tell me it wasn't showing everybody. So
No, thank you so much.
yes. So those are your next steps. If you are interested in learning more on an individual basis, you can reach out either through the form or directly through email, or my phone number's there as well. I did include Carrie's information. She's my partner in the curriculum process. So we both work with every school to answer questions and do the implementation and help you kind of figure out what your next steps are and how to meet your goals. So we'd be happy to have any conversations, or, you know, if you learned what you needed to learn today and you're ready to take that next step, we're happy to work with you on that as well. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. I'll let you get back to the rest of your day, but again, I hope to hear from you soon, and thank you for joining me.